Hello, I'm State Representative Tom Mehaffie, and welcome to Tom's Tours. Tonight, we're here at the Lower Swatara Firehouse, and I'm here with Chief Weikle.
Hi, Tom.
Hi,
Thanks
great.
for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me. Actually, this is my home. I spent a couple years here as a township commissioner helping out with what we see here today, which is a great facility. I just came in on the tail end as a commissioner, but you guys really have something special and some really good apparatus and really some great volunteers.
Yeah, this is one of the nicest firehouses in Dauphin County and maybe the state. And the members prior to me coming here really worked hard on it and made it a successful project. And the apparatus, we're still working on replacing that. We're still working on having a set schedule for apparatus replacement so that we don't run into financial struggles in the future.
Well, we're just coming off of Fire Prevention Week, and right now the General Assembly is talking about things that can help you out.
Correct.
You know, not you personally, but the volunteer fire companies. We have thousands throughout this state. Its volunteers have gone down dramatically throughout the years. So tell me really what's going on here and how we can help you in one way, but a little bit about what's going on right here in Lower Swatara Firehouse.
Well, I've been in the volunteer fire service for about 43 years, so I've been around the block many times. What's going on here is we have a live-in program. I currently have 5 live-ins. Some of them are college students, some of them have full-time jobs. And what they do is they respond to calls. In trade, we let them live here for free, as long as they're attending training and running the calls. I have one member who's a live-in. Out of the 499 calls, has made 309 of those calls as a live-in, which is really phenomenal response rate. But we're also hitting the street in less than 3 minutes, which is the same response times you would see in a professional fire department. So we're very fortunate here to have a lot of dedicated volunteers who are willing to put in the time for the training and willing to put in the time for the calls, and as well as fundraisers.
So you're always busy. I mean, if you're answering calls, you're managing the firehouse, you're doing things right here to it. You know, we know that there's upkeep and maintenance. You keep the place extremely nice. But when we talk about this, what probably is the biggest, and maybe looking at it across the state, not just here, but what do you see as the biggest problem with volunteer fire companies that we as you know, elected officials can help you out?
Well, in this township, we're very fortunate. We have one fire department, so all the support from the township goes to one location, which allows us to have a facility like this and have apparatus like we do. In some municipalities, they have multiple fire companies that are basically starving each other out. So I think some of it belongs in the fire department's lap, where they need to look at consolidation or regionalization to try to cut their costs and make everybody's life a little easier. So on the other hand, when you start looking at recruitment and retention, you and I had a conversation a while ago about training. The more the training standards go up, and trust me, I'm 100% behind all the training we can do. But when the training requirements came out, there was nothing to grandfather the old guys like me in. So the classes that we had taken over the last 43 years, a lot of those classes don't count, and we have to start all over again to get those certifications. I've been looking and read all the bills that are coming onto the House floor or the Senate, and the one I think my members are most excited about would be the tuition reimbursement. I have a lot of college students. I have some recent grads and some still in who look at that as a phenomenal help as they move into their working life and not facing quite as much debt as they did in their secondary education.
Yeah, I can tell, because going to college is expensive. But to serve our communities and do that, I think it's something we need to give back. I really think that's one of the better bills that we have out there right now. And you're right, you hear a lot of excitement about it. You hear it through our colleagues, you hear it from, you know, those and constituents that are calling in to help support that bill. So that's good to hear. It's really good to hear.
You had also said that none of these bills benefit me, which is not true, because if we look at the tax relief, whether it be through the township, the local municipality or the state government or the county government, that's still money that's coming out of my pocket. Where I provide a service, I'm running over 50% of the calls. I spend probably another 40 hours a week here every week just trying to keep the station maintained, trying to manage the people and the problems, and doing fire reports as we're required by the state. So we also have to handle any workman's comp. If somebody gets killed, or not killed, I'm sorry, if somebody gets hurt, we have to file those claims so that those medical bills get paid. So it really is almost a full-time job on top of my other full-time job.
Yeah, being chief isn't easy.
No,
I
it isn't.
understand that, that's for sure. Well, John, I really appreciate talking a little bit about what's going on and what we're doing. And you know, you can always reach out, and I encourage everyone to reach out and talk a little bit about what's going on with your volunteers. You know, how we can keep people interested in the fire department, how we can keep them and want to participate with you, whether it be not 40 hours a week, but part-time. I know there's a lot of training, a lot of time involved, but you know what? I think it grows a lot of young men and women. That's one thing I see here. You have younger folks coming in. When I came to the banquet earlier this year, that's exciting to see. Not that we want to force the old folks out, but we really want to work hard to retain and keep these young folks involved.
But several years ago, you had the opportunity to meet Valerie, and Valerie came to me as a college student who had no fire experience whatsoever, needed a place to live for one semester before she went to main campus. So I met with her and her mother and assured her mother she was perfectly safe here and that she would be protected by many very large men. So she didn't have to worry about her. Val was here about a month and decided that she loved it here. She had a bunch of dad figures and brother figures, and she decided to stay her full 4 years at the station. So the hook is trying to get somebody in the door and see the brother and sisterhood that we provide, and the training that we provide is second to none.
Well, she is an outstanding young lady,
She is.
and she, I think, one year got Firefighter of the Year.
Yes, she did.
So that's an exciting thing. So that's great. We want to keep men and women involved here. So I'm going to take a minute. We're going to go around and we're going to see some of your apparatus here, do a little bit of a tour if that's okay with you.
That's absolutely fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, John, we're here. We're going to see a little bit about what you guys have as far as apparatus, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what Dauphin County does for us and our commissioners and how great they've been over the years to all the fire stations across Dauphin County. We had something called the Dauphin County Gaming Grant. That was implemented when we had the casino come in.
Correct.
And right here's one of the fine pieces of apparatus that was bought with that gaming money.
Correct.
So you want to elaborate maybe a little bit on what this piece is and then how it fit into the county gaming grant?
Well, each year we submit to the county to assist with the gaming grant. We also get the blessing from the township before we submit that. So this utility was purchased with gaming grant money. The utility is basically our water rescue vehicle that pulls our boat. There's an inflatable boat on top of it, and there's a full-size boat that pulls behind it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the boat. Why does a fire station have a boat? And you know, I kind of know this because I've been around for a while with Lower Swatara Township, but we do have a portion of the river that we have to take care of. And I know this particular boat I was part of when I was at the township and when it was purchased, and it is a really nice piece of apparatus. This thing can pretty much weather any storm.
Yeah, this is a rock-proof boat made here locally in Pennsylvania. The rock-proof boat, if you notice, the bottom of it has a very hard shell. So when you're dealing in waterways like the Susquehanna, which can be very low, this really saves damage to the boat and keeps our members safe. As you saw last week, we had an airplane that was in the water. We actually were out on that. Lower Swatara Township covers from the Turnpike Bridge just to the lower part of the airport. So that's how much river we have, and when you calculate that the river is about a mile wide, plus all the islands that are inhabited there, we have to give them fire protection as well. So the boat can carry a pump if we have a fire over in the other side.
Yeah, a lot of times people don't think about what you all do as firefighters, so making sure we're not getting a call, are we?
No.
Okay, good. But going out and servicing also the river and you know, and just like would happen with the airplane going down. And no one was hurt there, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, safe to say that everybody was rescued there and everybody made it okay.
One of my analogies that I love to use is when you call 911 and it doesn't involve a police and it doesn't involve a medical emergency and the county doesn't know what to do with it, they send the fire department. So we get anything that's left over that isn't a police incident or isn't an EMS incident. And now we're starting to get some EMS incidents where we're getting called out for drug overdoses, active codes where we have to do CPR. So we're pretty much equipped to handle anything that comes down the line.
And the one thing too, and I didn't mention earlier, is we do have, and they're out right now, but we do have the service of Lifeline right here in the fire station, so that's also important.
Right, when they're on a call like they are now, what happens is if it's a class 1 call or an extreme emergency medical call, they'll call our utility and the utility responds in place of the EMS until they can get a car or a ambulance there. So I have EMTs, I've actually got some of the paramedics that run with Lifeline as paid crew to join as well. So there are times we go out with 3 EMTs and a paramedic. So we're actually equipped just as well, other than some of the medical devices that we can't have.
Well, it's all about teamwork.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at your newest piece of apparatus,
Okay.
I think the tanker. Okay, we're at the tanker, so this is your newest piece.
Yes, it is.
It's a beauty.
We're very proud of it. And one of the things that we did as a cost-cutting measure, we replaced a 25-year-old tanker and an engine, so we made a pumper tanker. So we actually got rid of 2 older pieces of apparatus and replaced it with one that will do multiple things. This particular tanker is set up so if our engine has to go out for state inspection, we still have an engine that can function as an engine even though it's a tanker. It just has a lot of water on it. Some of the other areas that aren't hydrant is a necessity to have a tanker with 2,500 gallons of water on it. Some of the low access areas and some of the residential trailer parks that don't have hydrants and very narrow streets, this will go in first because once you lay line in, you can't get another piece in there. So this can actually fight the fire, if not put it out by itself, while the other apparatus get in to assist with the fire.
So it doesn't look like the traditional tanker, and it
No.
surely doesn't look like the old Mac you used to
Yeah,
have.
the old Mac was an elliptical. This is a pumper tanker, and it has served us very well in the short time we've had it. Again, if we want to go back to the gaming grant, they helped us with some debt reduction that allowed us to purchase this. The purchase price was right around $750,000, and that's where the importance of the state support from the State House of Representatives and the Senate really comes in, because asking small fire departments to spend that kind of money on apparatus is very hard for them to raise. When I was a commissioner in Swatara and fought for the municipality to buy the apparatus, I asked the commissioners, how many subs do you have to sell to buy a $500,000 fire truck? And they didn't have an answer for me, and the answer was 500,000 subs, because we make $1 each. So that really puts it in perspective of how much money you're trying to deal with. The gaming grants and the grants that are provided by the state certainly help us immensely in being able to keep our equipment updated.
Well, John, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come into the firehouse. I want to thank all of our volunteer firefighters, not just here at Lower Swatara, but throughout the district and throughout the state. This is one thing we really wanted to do, is when we worked on these bills, we wanted to do something, and we wanted to make sure that we're taking care of our volunteers. Mm-hmm. You guys are so important. I don't think a lot of people realize what happens here as far as volunteer fire companies and how much money they save the taxpayer. Mm-hmm. I mean, apparatus is expensive, but paid fire companies are extremely expensive.
Yeah, if you look at your local tax budget and look at the police department, and it's 3/4 of your budget or more, if you have to pay a fire department, you need another 3/4 to do it. So we save substantial money for the municipality, and we're proud to do it, and as long as we can do it, we're going to be here to do the best job we can.
Well, we have outstanding fire departments here in the 106th District and throughout the county and throughout the state. And again, I want to thank you and thank all the volunteers. And I want to thank everybody for joining me on Tom's Tour.